in Kansas City next weekend at Kansas Speedway as NASCAR will take center stage at Kansas Speedway. We've got the Outlaws out at Lakeside a week from last night, next Friday night. So looking forward to that. We just hope Mall Nature cooperates because this time of the year, as everybody knows, the weather starts to turn, and it is turning. So keeping our fingers crossed that we get a decent weekend next weekend. How about tonight, though? You're down at
Well,
Devil's
I'm
Bowl.
not Kirk. You're way ahead of yourself. You're way over your skis right now
Yeah.
because it's this weekend right now. It's not next weekend, and this weekend is what matters the most, as we have a lot of racing action going on this weekend. Kirk, are we up on Facebook?
I don't know. It's
It
not
doesn't
coming up
appear
right
that
now.
we are. No, it doesn't appear that we are.
So we'll work
Okay.
on that. We're on the main website, though, and I think YouTube. So, but anyway, Sports Radio 810, that's the main function here as we speak. So we'll work on the social networks here in just a little bit. So get that up and going.
All right. Well, again, we have a great show lined up for you today. Kirk, we need to really start off the show. It seems like it's been more often than not that we've had to talk about passing away. This week, Doug Auld of Sprint Car Midget Magazine passed away at the age of 59 after having some
And
sport heart attack issue. And unfortunately, we've lost a really important person in the open wheel community, I should say. Let me spit that out.
yeah, Doug was a major factor in promoting.
At Devil's Bowl, it's the deep pits in the back that is the problem. And Scotty and I went up there last night, Kirk, probably around, I don't know, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and took a good look at the pits in the back. They had them opened up. There was a nice breeze going on all night long last night. I'm very confident that they'll be able to get the race in today because of the wind they've had. It's going to be sunny today. It's going to be warm. So it looks like it's going to be a one-day show for the Winter Nationals down here at Devil's Bowl this weekend. I've got to say this, though, Kirk, and I'm a little disturbed over this whole weekend down here, to be honest with you. And I'm just gonna call it the way I see it. You know, they've got these sprint bandits racing over at Texas Motor Speedway on Cup weekend over there, and they're allowing any kind of engine displacement over there. If you're correct, Kirk, isn't that what it said in the rules? Any engine cubic inch is allowed. I believe that's what it said.
It is. That is what the rules say about that
Right, right.
Outlaw Sprint Bandit series. So that was
So that
kind of
means you can
surprising.
have a 410, a 360, a 305. Hey, if you want to bring in a 430 with some fuel injection on it, why not? You know, if they say you can bring any displacement in that you want, why not go real big and put something wild together? I'm not sure anybody's going to go out of the way to build a specialty motor for that series. I guess it could happen. But my biggest problem I have this weekend is why in the hell is Texas Motor Speedway booking a sprint car race up against the Winter Nationals here at Devil's Bowl Speedway? This is my problem I have this weekend. It's like NASCAR, and listen, I'm a NASCAR fan. I'm big fans of Kansas Speedway and all of our friends out there, and the people that we've met around the country at all these NASCAR tracks. I'm just saying, why would you book up against the Winter Nationals at Devil's Bowl Speedway? Doesn't make any sense to me. All you're doing is watering down your crowd, our crowd. Going to split the car count. Last night, great example. Dylan Westbrook. Dylan Westbrook won that race. Sam Hafertepe ran third. Roger Crockett ran second. There were several of our national guys over there running last night. Now, granted, that we were rained out last night, and there was an opportunity to move down the road about an hour and race for 5,000 to win. But the problem is tonight, the separation between the cars that are going to race over there and the cars that are going to race it over at Devil's Bowl Speedway kind of ticks me off just a little bit, to be honest with you. I just think that these big tracks that make enough money, they need to work with the little racetracks around the country, in my eyes. I don't think they need to work against them. And right now, in my eyes, it appears that Texas Motor Speedway is working against Devil's Bowl Speedway this weekend. What do you think, Kirk?
Well, I would agree with you. It's a late add to the schedule that they had over at Texas Motor Speedway. But my thinking is, Scott, that the car counts will be pretty good at both the way it'll end up, I think. There were a couple of guys that raced at Texas Motor Speedway last night that will be at Devil's Bowl tonight.
Well, Dylan Westbrook is not going to give up his fourth place in points. He's going to be there for sure.
Right. And I would imagine Sam, would he come over to Devil's Bowl and
I'm not sure Sam will go over there. I would say that Sam will probably stay over there and run that race at Texas Motor Speedway.
$5,000 to win.
Pays more money to win.
Yeah.
See, there's the other thing. It pays $5,000 to win. We're going to pay $4,000 tonight. I don't know if there was some kind of intentional plan to try to undermine what was going on over at Devil's Bowl Speedway or not, but
well, I think what's going to end up, Scott, is
in my eyes, Kirk, it appears that they have no feelings for whatever bothers the local tracks around here, the tracks that have been around here for 50, 60 years. Don't work against them. Work with them. Come on, big money. Let's work with the racetracks, not against them. We see our track, Kansas Speedway, they do a lot to work with our local tracks. And it just bothers me for some reason. I'm just a little rubbed by it today, Kirk. I'm just a little rubbed by it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I'm not opposed to having dirt races on the weekend that NASCAR's at Texas Motor Speedway. That's fine. Just don't run sprint cars. I mean, the biggest event in that area has always been on this weekend at Devil's Bowl Speedway.
Right.
Just run a different class of cars. That'd be all I would ask. But I think what's going to end up is both tracks will get good, solid car counts. I think the guys that were going to run Devil's Bowl, as I was looking down through the names that showed up at Texas Motor Speedway last night, a lot of those guys were probably not going to run Devil's Bowl. They come from other areas or whatever. So I think both tracks will end up getting pretty good car counts the way it'll turn out. But I think Devil's Bowl would have had more cars. There's no doubt about that than they ordinarily would. But I still think there'll be a pretty solid group of cars that'll show up at Devil's Bowl tonight as well as Texas Motor Speedway.
Well, I don't know, Kirk. It just kind of annoys me again, as we've talked about. Just the thought of, listen, as you know, Kirk, these small racetracks are struggling right now to survive, right? I mean, whatever you want to do, don't work against the racetracks that are barely hanging on by a thread. Now, I'm not saying that Devil's Bowl is hanging on by a thread. I'm not saying that, because they've had, they're very successful business people. Beverly and her family are doing other things. But the fact is, you got to keep these promoters motivated to want to continue to work this hard for a little return. Because let's face it, the motorsports world, when it comes to promotion, is high risk, little return. We know this, Kirk. We've promoted enough races to know, right? You might put up $35,000-$40,000 to promote a race, and you might make $5,000-$10,000 in return, maybe at the most, right? So the return for the risk is really almost not worth it sometimes. And that's the thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's don't do anything to jeopardize what's going on at the local dirt tracks. Let's work together as a unit and make sure that we all think about each other and what's good for each other. Let's don't think about ourselves so much.
I think the bottom line is, folks at Texas Motor Speedway, I'm sure they're good people over there, they didn't really care what Devil's Bowl Speedway was doing. That's pretty clear.
Again, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. They don't care.
Nope.
And they should, to be honest with you. I think that they should worry about what's going on, because, listen, if you haven't noticed lately, there's been a new surge of fans going to NASCAR races. Why is that, Kirk?
Because the connection that people like Kyle Larson has had to the dirt track racing.
Exactly. So why would you want to work against that? Now, maybe Texas Motor Speedway looks at it like this. We're having a dirt track race at our racetrack, and we're supporting dirt track racing. Maybe that's how they look at it.
Sure.
Maybe they don't look at it as they're intentionally hurting the possibility of Devil's Bowl having a short car count or not having enough cars over there. Now, I still think we're going to have 25, 35 cars.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
but you know who gets shortchanged in all this, Scott, is the race fan. The local sprint car fan in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex now has to make a choice. Okay, do I go to Texas Motor Speedway to watch sprint car racing, or do I go to Devil's Bowl Speedway? And I hate to have the race fan make that choice, but that's just where I'm coming from.
You know, it seems like this Bandit series that they're running over there at Texas Motor Speedway is a little similar but different to what we've got going on with the non-wing sprint cars back in Kansas City. It's kind of an open engine rule. Bring what you want. Bring a 410, bring a 360, bring a 305, bring whatever. They don't care. And I think
does that matter though when you put a wing on the cars?
Well, I don't know. Roger Crockett said that last night. If I'm correct, now maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that they can adjust their wings back and forth in this series. I don't think they allowed them to slide their wing back and forth, because if I was correct, I heard Roger Crockett say something about that last night on the broadcast.
How do they police that?
Well, you just don't let them have a slider on there. That's all.
So you got to mount it solid.
Just got to mount it solid. Now, I may be wrong on that, but that's the way I understood that last night. See there, Tom said correct, no wing adjustment. All right, Tom. Tommy, I know you're watching the broadcast right now, and man, you're everything to me. It's really a bad deal, Tommy, isn't it? That what they're doing down there at Texas Motor Speedway and trying to dilute the car count from Devil's Bowl Speedway. Come on, man. Why are we doing that?
Well, I'm going to only be watching one sprint car race tonight, and that's at Devil's Bowl Speedway. So
right.
What they do over to Texas Motor Speedway, I'll check the results out later on, but I'm only watching one sprint car race tonight. So
well, listen,
that's where you're at.
The race that matters is tonight at Devil's Bowl Speedway, because we have such a point race going on with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. Kirk, I'm telling you, this point race coming down to the end of it, I know Tommy's listening right now, and he's going to hate probably what I say. But listen, this is a little bit closer than it needs to be. I mean, Blake's got a 60-point lead. Now, Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you can make up to 65 points in one night. So he's got a really good chance. Listen, this rain out last night, that was a good thing for Blake Hahn. Great thing. One less day he's got to worry about racing for this championship, right? So he's got a 60-point lead. He's got tonight, and he's got the final night at the Short Track Nationals. Now, there's a subject also. If I was Devil's Bowl, I'm just going to say it. If I was Devil's Bowl, I might be a little ticked off that my race isn't the final race of the season. The Winter Nationals isn't the final race. The final race of the year will be on Saturday night at the Short Track Nationals in Little Rock, Arkansas.
And that you explained that to me earlier this week, and I was mistakenly thinking that the Short Track Nationals was just show-up points, but it's not. The final night, it's a full points night.
The first night is show-up points, Kurt. The second night is a full point race.
I was not aware of that.
Yes.
So next Saturday night, a week from tonight, is that's the big one. And Blake Hahn has had good success at Hammer Hill, I-30 Speedway. He's won, two Short Track Nationals.
Blake Hahn knows his way around Short Track Nationals. That's the one good thing going for Blake. he's going to a track at Short Track Nationals that he's really comfortable with. He's won a lot of races there. He's got a lot of laps around that joint, and I think he's going to do just fine. To be honest with you, but and maybe Tommy can tell me. Hold on a second here, Kirk. I got a browser open. Maybe Tommy can tell me what they have to do in a message here this morning.
It's down between Blake Hahn and J.J. Hickle, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Matt Covington is he a little too far back? 138 points.
Back.
That's
he's
back.
Out of it.
Yeah.
He's out of it. But the thing about it is, 60 points is doable, so it's not over. Let's don't relax. Let's don't breathe. Let's stay focused. Do what you have to do as a team. Blake Hahn, I'm speaking of. Run good. I'm not trying to say be conservative, but just stay close to J.J. Hickle. Don't let him get too far away. Don't let him get too far out on you. Just stay close to it. That's all you got to do. Just stay close to J.J. Hickle. That's all you have to do the rest of the way.
And if there's a tie, Hahn would win on the tiebreakers because he's got 6 wins. J.J. Hickle's got 4 feature victories this year.
Oh, gosh, I hope it doesn't come down to that. Well, maybe I do, because, that would be good for that would really be good for Racing Boys if that was to come down to that. Now, the final race of the season, just so you know, folks, it will not be on Racing Boys. It will strictly be on Flow. Flow has the rights to the Short Track Nationals. We will not. I will be down there. Maybe not. I don't know yet. I might just stay at Kansas Speedway this next weekend. But the Short Track Nationals on Saturday night is the final night, and that's when we'll know who's going to come out on top with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour Championship points. $40,000 on the line, Kurt. That's a lot of money. It's real money. Yeah.
Well, if you look at it right now, you'd have to bet on Blake Hahn at this point. J.J. Hickle's got a pretty tall task. He's got to hope that Blake Hahn has trouble. And my guess is that Tommy and Blake and everybody, the whole crew, they've gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and the chances of having mechanical failure are probably not all that high, but you never know. But I would bet on Blake Hahn at this point.
Here's what Tommy says: Hickle could win both, and Blake could run 5th both nights, and it would be a tie.
And Hahn would win the tiebreakers.
He would win the tiebreaker.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be fun to watch. So tonight looks like a go at the big half mile at Devil's Bowl Speedway. So looking forward to that. And then we'll see what happens next weekend down in Little Rock.
We want to say hi to John Miller, who's listening in from Ontario, Canada. We appreciate that, listening in on the show.
Hey, we got one other broadcast tonight, the Oil Capital Racing Series. They were also supposed to be in action last night down at Outlaw Motor Speedway, but 4 inches of rain in the Muskogee area put a damper on that, so no races last night, but they are on, set to go for Red Dirt Raceway tonight, and we'll have the live broadcast of that as well. So 2 live sprint car shows tonight, the OCRS at Red Dirt and Devil's Bowl.
Let me ask you a question. Ken brought up a question. He said, look how sanctioning bodies schedule over the top of each other in this area all the time. Do you look at it the same when a touring series schedules on top of each other as when somebody like NASCAR, a NASCAR track, do you think that they should be looked at the same as other touring series booking on top of each other? I don't. I think NASCAR has billions of dollars, and they need to work. And listen, let's face it, they need those fans back at their racetrack too, right?
Well, this would be more SMS than NASCAR. This would be, the owner of Texas Motor Speedway scheduling.
Bruton Smith.
Right.
But don't you think that Bruton Smith's got billions too, by the way?
Yeah, he's got enough.
He's got plenty of money. But don't you think though that with the way that the dirt community is starting to respond back to NASCAR, Listen, Kirk, all you got to do is just watch the TV on Saturday mornings, right? You can see the fans are starting to pick up in the grandstands at these cup races. It's obvious. And the reason that's going on is because the dirt track fans are coming out to watch Kyle Larson to race. That's what's going on, right? So, I don't know.
I think it appears that they won't have to worry about this next year because the Devil's Bowl Winter Nationals, which is always on this weekend in October, won't conflict with Texas Motor Speedway, as it's a different schedule next year. So this is a one-off deal that I don't think they'll have to worry about again.
Yep. All right, it's time to take a break. You're listening to Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Just announced last night that it's official. I will be getting off the road. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Mostly Motorsports right around the corner next year. New show that we'll be doing over here at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. We'll talk about that and more. But up next, folks, Kevin Harvick. And we're going to talk to him about what happened between him and Chase Elliott last week. Stay tuned for more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk. As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering...
Scott, make sure you mute your mic when we get ready to roll. Rock and roll.
Rack and pinion. Eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
You trained for this all year. Endless hours of cardio, conditioning, and weights. And now you are ready. Ready to trek back to your seat from the concession stand. Through the lines, lost fans, and that mascot who wants you to do a little dancey dance, all without spilling a drop of your ice-cold Bud Light. Welcome back to football, sports fans.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
Stop by your local Henhouse Markets as they celebrate their 98th anniversary with great specials back at the meat counter. Fresh 80% lean ground chuck, ground fresh several times each day, just $3.99 a pound. How about some USDA Choice Certified Hereford Beef KC strip steaks? They're 10 ounces and $9 each, or $13.99 a pound. And at Henhouse, remember the steaks are always an 1/8-inch trim, not a 1/4 inch like the other guys. And make sure to stop by to register for your chance to win a $98 Henhouse gift card. Just visit henhouse.com for all these specials and more. Henhouse, serving your family for 98 years.
The Outlaws are coming. It's the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. High-speed, daring wing sprint cars and the greatest show on dirt. The Outlaws invade Lakeside Speedway Friday, October 22nd in the FVP Platinum Battery Showdown. See two-time champ Brad Sweet take on Donnie Schatz, David Gravel, and many more. World of Outlaws Sprint Cars at Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City. Friday, October 22nd. Racing at 7:30 p.m. Tickets at slspromotions.com or call 815-344-2023. Be there! Be there!
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram at the Legends Auto Plaza. Folks, low inventory levels have driven used car values to all-time highs. Whether you buy from us or not, we need your vehicle. At Victory, it's a simple process to get the current value of your car or truck. Simply visit our website and click on the Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer banner. Within minutes, you can view a true cash offer for your vehicle, stop by the dealership, and collect a check. It's that easy. Visit VictoryMotorsKC.com for details.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days.
All right, boys, coming back.
Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Schrader. He's Kirk Elliott. We are the Racing Boys. Don't forget, we got 4 live broadcasts on Racing Boys this weekend. Go to racingboys.com and find our schedule. We've got a lot of great dates. Devil's Bowl, Outlaw Speedway, Red Dirt Speedway this weekend. But joining us now on the show is a guy that I enjoy watching. He's one of my favorite drivers over the last, I don't know how many years it's been now. Kevin Harvick joins us on the show. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Hey, we appreciate it, bud. I know a very disappointing weekend last weekend. Fell out of the playoffs. Man, that one had to sting a little bit.
Yeah, I think for us, our expectations were pretty low anyway going in. So we kind of threw caution to the wind, and I got a little greedy there at the end of the race and drove into turn one, and that's a tricky corner when you lock up the brake, and nose the thing into the outside wall there. So just my mistake at the end, but the guys did a great job of giving us a chance. We had a decent car and were able to fight all day long and do the things that we needed to do to try to put ourselves in position. So. Yeah. Race hard and get through the end of the season here and start over.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on what happened between you and Chase, but I got to ask one question. Did you know that he was behind you, about a car length behind you, and were you paying attention to him when you went down into turn one? I mean, just take us through that sequence of events that happened down there in turn one.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know where he was. I knew that I had lost, 5 or 6 spots on that restart there. I got stuck behind the 3 car and needed to start making up ground as far as, picking those cars back off. And I went to the inside there and just locked up the brake, I don't even remember who I was trying to pass right there and locked it up. So yeah, just got in a hurry and put it in the corner a little bit too far, but I had no idea where he was.
Yeah. Kevin, I know that Kansas Speedway is coming up. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but this weekend it's Texas Motor Speedway, and this is a racetrack you've had a lot of success. You've got a few wins down there. I think it was, Kirk told me here a little bit earlier, it was 17, 18, and 19 you won down there. Talk about going to Texas Motor Speedway this weekend and what that track means to you.
Yeah, it's been a great racetrack for us, and I think for us, we have run well there throughout the years, and hoping that we can do the same this weekend as we go to Texas. So got to overcome a little bit of track position with the bad finish last week, in the first half of the race, and then try to put ourselves in a position. And it's really much like the last 6 weeks. We've got nothing to lose, and go out there and throw caution to the wind and just wing it and see what happens and try to get to victory lane. So that's our plan, and that's been our plan, from the time we've started the playoffs, and we'll finish the season up that way.
Kevin, it's been a tough season for you this year. Just talk about dealing with some of the adversity that you've had to deal with this year. You've always been ultra successful every year, winning, contending for the championship. Just talk about the adversity you've had to deal with this year a little bit.
Yeah, our team's done a great job of dealing with cars that haven't had the pace that we'd all like, and they've done a great job of getting great finishes and keeping us in contention to be in the playoffs and have a chance through the first and second round of the playoffs. And so pit crew's been phenomenal. Rodney and everybody's done a great job in making stuff better while still having to race. And aside from the win column, the rest of it looks fine on paper, but it's been a struggle to get at that point. But our team does a great job, and it's probably been one of the better years as far as execution of all the little things in order to get to where we are. So it's been a battle, but sometimes that's the way it goes.
Hey, Kevin, this is Kirk. I know it's never good not to make the playoffs, but the Stewart-Haas organization can now focus in on this new race car for next year. Maybe get a head start on some of these other teams coming out of the gate strong next year. How is that a real positive now for your team? Now that you didn't make the playoffs, that you can focus in on this new next-gen car and come out of the gates running over some of these other teams at the beginning of next year?
Well, we did make the playoffs, so that's a good thing. But I think as you
I mean the rest of the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think as you look at the next gen car, it's yesterday was for me the first time that I had sat in the car, and you know, I think it's it's definitely different, but in the end it's still a race car. So that for me was really good, just to kind of put all that out of the way. You know, I don't think we're going to have really any advantage. I think just because of the fact that, you know, everybody was there yesterday. Everybody's focused on the next gen car and you know, trying to figure out, you know, exactly what you need to do, where you need to do it. And it was interesting to see all the crews and engineers and everybody back in the garage. It's been a long time since we've had a test like that. So, you know, I think from a NASCAR standpoint, they obviously, you know, put everybody in a position to be able to test at the same racetracks and have the same opportunities to you know, to go about, you know, where you can go, when you can go test, and everybody will be at those tests. So that's really the only one that you know is during the season. The rest of them will be after the season. So it'll be interesting because it is drastically different. Teams have a lot less control of what they make and you know, how they can get parts. You're at the mercy of vendors, and
right.
You know, I think as we go through these tests, there are a number of things that need to be worked on. I think the one that stuck out yesterday was the problems that multiple cars had with the steering. So the steering will have to be addressed. They've done a good job of addressing the heat inside the race cars and coming up with something that we can fix there. But the only way to really go about finding all those problems is to have more cars at the racetrack like we have now. So now you're seeing real life problems that you have to solve quickly. But before the season starts next year, but you have a lot of really smart people with all those engineers and all those you know, team members. That's when the problems start getting solved. Is when you get the teams involved, because you know, NASCAR can run you know, all the tests that they want by themselves. There's just no way to solve all the problems if you don't have, you know, all the teams and all the cars involved. So it'll be fun to watch the progression, because it'll be quick now because of the fact that you know, everybody is in the car and in the garage and working on the new next gen car.
What are the biggest issues that you think, as a driver, that they need to get worked out on this car?
Is it the sidewall? The sidewall is a lot shorter on this car. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think the tires really. I don't think the tires. I think that, you know, the biggest glaring problem at this particular point is the steering rack on the front of the car. I think that'll have to be the biggest problem. The other problem was the heat, but they're well down the road of addressing you know, that problem. And there's just going to be. I mean, it's going to be issue after issue just because of the fact that everything's new. And I think you know, everybody knows that. But you know, I think the open dialogue with the teams and NASCAR now. You know, all working on it together, things are going to get solved quickly. And you know, I think even as you look at the car that we're racing now, I mean, you're still solving problems and working on things as you go forward. So it's definitely it's different now that all the teams are involved. Things will progress quick.
And finally, before we let you go, Kevin, I got to talk about Kansas Speedway. You've got 2 wins in the fall there, 1 win in the spring, 13, 16, and 18. Talk about Kansas Speedway and what that track means to you. You had some success there. Just talk about that place.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, Kansas has been a great racetrack, and it's really, from a driver's standpoint, a fun racetrack to race on because of the fact that, you know, the racetrack has worn in so well. You can race at the top of the racetrack, which is the preferred groove as the tires wear out. It's faster at the bottom of the racetrack on new tires. But as a driver, you know, having options is something that is a lot of fun. And, you know, as they repave Atlanta and, you know, you look at some of the other racetracks, you know, really Kansas is going to be one of the more unique racetracks because of the fact that the asphalt is in the shape of the racetrack is so driver friendly as far as where you can drive on the racetrack. And you can literally drive from the wall to the apron all the way around the racetrack. So it's a fun racetrack. It's been good to us, and hopefully we can continue that trend as we go forward.
Is the top 2 dominant at Kansas Speedway?
I don't think so. I think it depends on what lap, right? And, you know, a lot of that depends on the weather.
Right.
So, as soon as somebody says the top's too dominant, and you'll go back to the bottom, and the bottom will be boring. So
I got you. Right.
That's a cycle. That's a cycle. People like stage racing. People now, people wonder if stage racing is the right thing. So, it's top of the racetrack, the right thing. It's just that goes in cycles. It always has. And I've been around this long enough to know that, sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because in my mind, Kansas is a great racetrack just because of the fact that you can race all over the racetrack.
Yeah. All right, Kevin. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us on the show this morning. Go out and bang out a few more wins for the rest of the season, okay?
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it, Kevin.
So there you have it. That's Kevin Harvick, an interview, obviously, that we did earlier in the week as I was sitting in the studio, and I'm down here in Mesquite, Texas. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ with Adam and Todd.
Yeah,
what do you think about that interview?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Kirk?
A lot of people expect us to go in and start hammering away on this Chase Elliott deal, and that has been hammered away at.
Well, hold on a second. Let's be fair. Let's tell the fans out there that are listening to the show that right before we did this interview, Kevin Harvick's publicist asked us not to dwell on the Chase Elliott thing too long. Is that correct, Kurt?
Yeah, because Kevin had already been doing a list of interviews before he hooked up with us.
And he was probably already annoyed by the time that he got to us.
I think he wasn't very happy about a lot of the way things were. But we weren't going to dwell on that anyway. Really, we were going to talk about it. Absolutely, we were going to ask about it. But that wasn't the main reason we wanted to talk to Kevin Harvick.
No. Well, that was part of the reason. But here's the thing. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. When they ask you not to do that, then you try to oblige them, but you still got to get a couple of those kind of questions.
Well, they didn't ask us not to talk about it.
The one question I wish I would have asked him during that interview, and I didn't ask him, and I should have followed up when I asked him about, did he know Chase was behind him when he got down there to turn one? First of all, I believe that Kevin Harvick knew he was behind him.
You asked him that question, though.
I know, but I don't know if he answered it truthfully or not. Because I think that Kevin Harvick was aware that his crew and his spotter had already conspired into taking Kevin Harvick out if they got to him. And I know for a fact that the spotters tell you who's behind you. I've been a spotter at super speedways. I've done it. I know. You tell who's behind you and how far they're behind you. And I promise you, his spotter was informing him that Chase Elliott was 2 cars back.
I agree with that. I don't think there's any way that Kevin was being completely truthful when he said he didn't know that Chase Elliott was back there.
Sometimes
I don't believe that either.
Sometimes you got to say the right things.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is the other reason why I guess we could have asked him, is it over between you and Chase Elliott? I don't think we would have gotten an honest answer out of that either. That's why I didn't ask it.
There's no way that is over. Chase Elliott feels like he has Kevin Harvick has one coming.
Right. Here's where I think's going on. Kevin Harvick is old school. And as we've seen in the past, he does like to play mind games. We've seen it when he's been the Final Four at
all the time.
Homestead and now Phoenix, where they have these pre-weekend press conferences, and you always saw Kevin Harvick playing mind games with the other 3 drivers.
Right.
That's just who he is. And so, and part of it is generational. He's part of the old crowd. There's a new crowd coming in, led by Chase Elliott. I think this is Kevin Harvick's way of saying, hey, I know you're the young hotshot driver that just won the championship last year, the most popular driver, and you're the new young gun. Well, I'm here to let you know that I'm still around. So I think that's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll just have to take a wait-and-see approach. But my gut says, now Chase is still in the championship, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's very much alive.
Listen, he's got more to lose than Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
If he gets in there and starts monkeying around with Kevin Harvick, I've done it. I've messed around with the guy that was running second in points one time, cost me a championship. Chase Elliott's got to use his head now. Don't jack around with Kevin Harvick. Don't let Kevin Harvick mess around with you. Move on, get past him, drive on, do your business, try to win this championship 2 years in a row. That's what Chase needs to do, right?
Kevin Harvick knows full well that he is living rent-free in Chase Elliott's mind right now. And that isn't going to change, and Kevin Harvick is happy about that.
Right, exactly. All right, it's time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a guy that's currently fifth in the World of Outlaw Championship point standings. Logan Schuchart joins the Racing Boys next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
Be there to experience history as the United States women's national team comes to Kansas City to take on Korea on October 21st at Children's Mercy Park. U.S. legend and former World Player of the Year Carly Lloyd will play her second-to-last match ever for the U.S. right here in Kansas City. Thursday, October 21st, 7 p.m. at Children's Mercy Park, the U.S. women's national team versus Korea. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss your chance to witness history.
Love is in the air at Lee Summit Subaru because all month it's our Lee Summit Subaru Customer Appreciation Love Event. Our customers have made us Google's highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on the 2020 new retail sales report. And we want to hire additional salespeople and technicians like you that can continue to deliver our high standard of service to our thousands of customers. Apply at LeeSummitSubaru.com or come see us. We'd love to meet you. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru, a proud dealership of the Boulder Sonata Group.
What's got everyone talking?
That would be Talk of the Town Neighborhood Bar and Grill on 135th and Null and 119th and Quivira.
What's got everyone talking?
Everyone's talking about our daily specials, the best burgers and wings in town, great selection of beer and spirits. Oh, it's the dozens of TVs showing your favorite game.
That's what's got everyone talking.
This is Giannis, and now we're talking at Talk of the Town Neighborhood Bar and Grill.
Did you know the arrow in Amazon's logo represents A to Z? Maybe the My Computer Career logo should represent unemployed to employed. Ryan was out of work when he started classes in March. In September, he started his IT career, working for Amazon, making more money than he ever thought possible. Here's a prime opportunity. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Sunday, it's on to D.C. for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs as they take on Washington. We'll have you covered beginning at 8 a.m. with Chiefs Tailgate. At 9, Soren Petro hosts the Central Bank pregame show. And after the game, tune in for the best postgame show in Kansas City. And Sunday night, Geno Smith gets the start for Seattle against Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. It's all on your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. A winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Make some dough and earn some dough with a career or even part-time work at Domino's. Domino's is now hiring delivery drivers, assistant managers, and general managers. Earn up to $20 per hour, including mileage. Domino's offers flexible schedules, advancement opportunities, employee discounts, and career opportunities leading to six-figure incomes. Plus, you're eligible for full benefits after just 1 year of employment when you average 30 hours per week. Apply today by texting Pizza Jobs to 484848. That's Pizza Jobs to 484848.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables. You can wear a mask if you want, or not. It's your choice. Other than that, we're open 11:30 every single day. So come see us at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
At Diamonds
Alrighty,
Direct,
boys.
we never take you for granted.
Let's try to
we
get
understand
out
you always have a
by
choice.
about 55
That's why this week
if we
want to
can.
take pause to
But
say
again, they
thank
kinda
you.
stacked us
It's a
with
yearly
some
tradition our team
commercials,
looks
so
forward to because we love showing
give
you
us a
we
yelling
care.
ear.
And this commitment to you is why
Definitely
we offer
will.
free cleaning, free sizing, free maintenance for life with any purchase. It's also why we created our amazing 110% lifetime upgrade promise. So when you're ready to trade up to that center diamond, that pair of diamond studs, or that diamond solitaire pendant, we will give you 110% of your original purchase price to go toward your new diamond. That's 10% more than you paid us. Value, selection, and customer service are truly what set
Back
us
in
apart.
20.
This weekend, let us show you our appreciation. Come say
Simple.
hello, take advantage of our unmatched services, and maybe upgrade or trade in your diamond. And go bigger in honor of you, our valued customer. And thank you for allowing Diamonds Direct to be a part of your life's most precious moments, today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Track Talk.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. We're going to welcome in our next guest. He's currently 5th in the World of Outlaw point standings. Logan Schuchart joins us on the show. Logan, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good today. How about you?
Well, we appreciate you getting up on a Saturday morning and taking the time to join us on the show here this year. 6 wins this year. You gotta be satisfied with that, right?
I like what we have accomplished. I'm proud of what we accomplished. We won a big race in June in Minnesota with the Jackson Nationals, but
Right.
we believe we have we're capable of accomplishing a lot more. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more this year, but that's how things go a little bit. We've been strong here lately. And, 3 of those 6 wins came in the last, month and a half. So, and we've, had a few second place finishes in there. So we've been very close at getting a few other big ones. So, I'm happy and proud of that. I think our team's done a great job. It's, Dryden Performance Products team. And, it's a growing process, a learning year. And we're hoping to get back on track and maybe take some of those DNFs out that we had this year. But there's a few races left this year, so we're going to try and finish strong.
And you got Lakeside coming up. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I know you've had some pretty good success there at that racetrack. But, when you talk about your season, every time I look up at the screen, every time I watch Dirt Vision, and they do a great job with their production, every time that 1S car is running up towards the front. I mean, you're always banging on the podium up there towards the front of every race, it seems like.
Well, we have a consistent race team for sure. I think if you look at the cars that are in front of us in the point standings, there's not, the win difference between all the cars in front of us isn't, the gap's not very big. The leader's he's had a very successful year. He's racing aggressive, and it's what you got to do sometimes. But we've, our stats show that we're right there. We just need to clean up some of our DNFs, and I think it'll put us right in the mix. So there's, what I am proud of is there's some tracks that we've struggled at in the past, and we've been a lot faster at them this year. So it's been really well, and as far as that goes and learning, and like I said, it's a growing process. You get better every year, and that's what it's all about.
You've run 72 races this year, and I don't think people really understand. I've been out on the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour for 13 years, and we run about 45, 50 races. And the amount of races that the World of Outlaws run, that is such a grind, and it takes such a commitment, not only financially, but as a team and crew members and everything that goes with it, running up and down the road, running nearly 90 races every year. Talk about the grind of running with the World of Outlaws.
Yeah, sure. That's why you got to have, great sponsors like we do with Dryden, C&D Rigging, NGK Spark Plugs, everybody that makes, the financial side part of it happen. And, great crew guys. I got good, guys that work really hard. Ron Helmick, Ben Whitman, Tyler Garber, Brendan Collum, Jack Eckert came on the road this year, a longtime helper of my grandfather back in the day. And now he's back out on the road. So it's a grind. It's a lot of traveling, a lot of time away from home, missing family kind of thing. But if the passion's there and the guys really want to do it, it's one of the coolest experiences there is. So
right.
You
mentioned your grand.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. You mentioned your grandfather, Bobby Allen. He's got 39 career wins. You're pretty close to that number yourself, right?
Yeah, I believe I have, as far as World of Outlaw wins, 29, and my grandfather has 30. So we got close to matching that a few weeks ago.
2 minutes, fellas.
It would definitely be a special moment. It'd be pretty cool, especially to be able to accomplish that with him by my side would be pretty awesome.
Well, we're old enough to remember your grandfather won in the Knoxville Nationals
Right.
so many years ago. What an exciting night that was, for sure. But you've come close at Knoxville a few times up there. I think it's only a matter of time before you get that big win. But a couple of weeks ago, that still has to sting. Not too far from your home, that National Open. I thought you had that in the bag.
90.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they say you got to run second before you can win the big races, and we now did that in all three. The Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal, and the Williams Grove National Open. So definitely a heartbreaker, especially the way things were going, being really fast, and led most of the race. And Carson got me with a couple laps to go and really almost got him back on the last lap. Kind of thought we were going
60.
to, and it just didn't turn out that way. So definitely
Yeah.
a heartbreaker, but like I said, I guess you got to run second before you can win them. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Like I said in my interview then, I'm 28 years old. I got some time to
You got plenty of time.
be around, get better, and I don't plan on going anywhere for a long, long time. So those guys will have to deal with that.
Logan, I'm sorry that we're short on time. We're up against the top of the hour. Thanks for taking the time to join us on the show. Man, I was pulling for you for that $75,000 to win. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Better luck to you next time. We'll see you out at Lakeside next week.
All right, thank you. I hope we can get a win there.
All right, buddy.
He's come close out there. No doubt about it. The FVP Platinum Battery Showdown.
30.
It's Friday night, Scott.
Right. Don't forget, hour number 2 coming up. You can watch it on our Facebook page, Twitter, racingboys.tv, as well as YouTube. We hope that you'll follow us right around the corner. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world.
15.
Blake, thanks so much for helping us back at Sports Radio 810. Todd, Adam, hour number 2 coming up right around the corner. We hope that you'll follow us over there on our social media platforms.
Love is in the
Thanks,
air
my man.
at Lee Summit
Good
Subaru
show,
because
fellas. I'm
all
really
month
sorry
it's our
about that.
Lee
I'll try to
Summit
get them
Subaru
to see
Customer
if they can kind of
Appreciation
switch
Love
the stuff
Event.
around for
Our
next
customers
week.
have made
Yeah,
us
we
Google's
appreciate that.
highest
That'd be
review-rated
great.
Subaru retailer
Yeah,
in
no problem.
Kansas
All
City
right, man.
based on the
Have a good week.
2020 new retail sales report. And we want to hire additional salespeople and technicians.
Lucas Heavy Duty. Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Alumatech Products is the premier aluminum cabinet company as well as custom aluminum trailer manufacturer. They specialize in custom cabinetry and production units. All the cabinets are built in-house by exceptional craftsmen. Alumatech Products also offer truck caps that are built from the ground up, starting with a framework all the way to a complete build. The folks at Alumatech are driven to produce quality, long-lasting products through innovative design to best suit you. For more information, go to alumatechproducts.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
We not only look to the future, we design it. Our excellence and professionalism in craftsmanship, quality, and safety is unmatched in the industry. We are proud suppliers to some of the most elite race teams in the world. We build it, you drive it. We are here to help you win.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor. I'm in Mesquite, Texas. After a rain out, night number 1 of the Winter Nationals down here at Devil's Bowl Speedway. Kirk Elliott back at Racing Boys HQ with Adam and Todd bringing you the show. Adam and Todd, our producers, want to thank those guys for always working so hard on the show, and great things coming up in the future, Kirk. You know, we didn't talk about it much in hour number 1. We maybe do that a little bit next week, but I officially announced yesterday that I will no longer be traveling with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour, and that I will be focusing my efforts on a new show that we'll be doing right there at Racing Boys HQ. It's called Mostly Motorsports. It's all brought to you by our good friends over at Lucas Oil Products. They've came on board as the title sponsor to the new show. And the new show is going to be a little bit different than what we do over here on Track Talk. It's going to be a 90-minute show. It's going to be a midday show, Monday through Friday. We're going to air from 11 to 12:30. Eventually try to get that to 1 o'clock, make it a 2-hour show, but we're going to start out running 90 minutes. And we're going to have all kinds of guests and journalists and writers and drivers from all around the country. It should be a lot easier for us to get high-end drivers during the week when those drivers are not racing, unlike on Saturday morning here on Track Talk when we have well, Kirk, it's always a struggle to get people to get up on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock in the morning and do a show. So it should be a lot easier to get great guests during the week. And we're really looking forward to doing this show. And, Kirk, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I think we've spoke of it before, that next year is going to be your last year with Racing Boys, that you are going to retire, and you plan on moving back to Mount Ayr, Iowa. Is that correct?
Well, I'm moving back to, I'm not saying Mount Ayr, but I'm moving back to Iowa.
You're going to move back closer to the family.
Yeah. I got 10 nieces and, great nieces and great nephews that I want to follow around. So, yeah, I want to get closer to that. But anyway, if you'll have me as a guest on your show once in a while, that'd be cool.
Every week. Every week you're going to be a guest on the show. We wouldn't have it any other way. You know, Kirk, we've been together doing this show since 2000, and we've been doing it a really, really, really long time. And I love you like a brother. There's nobody that outside of my ex-wife that's put up with me as long as you have. And it's a miracle in itself.
Well, you're going to have to put up with me a little while longer.
That's all right. I'll put up. Listen, Kirk, if you want to stay forever, I'll put up with you forever.
Yeah, I'll be around a while.
If you want to move. Now, Kirk, just to be clear, Kirk, you're going to stick around until the latter portion of next year, correct?
Yeah, about a year from now. We'll be
about a year from now
making our move back. Yeah. So
what we'll probably do is take a lot of what we do during the week, some of the best of Mostly Motorsports, and we'll probably run it on Saturday mornings. We're going to have some great interviews, folks. It's really going to be a good show. I'm so looking forward to doing it. I cannot wait to do it. It's going to be a little edgier, and the reason it's named Mostly Motorsports is because two things we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about politics, and we're not going to talk about religion. I'll stay away from all that mess.
Yeah.
But but we're going to talk about everything else, right? Things that are going on in music, television, current events, what's going on. You know, we'll talk about a lot of things. But it's mostly going to be motorsports, and we're going to have a lot of great people on there. So I am so looking forward to it, and I've got to thank our good friends. I want to personally thank Brandon Bernstein. You all know Brandon Bernstein, right? Drag racer, Kenny Bernstein's son, who had a great career as a Top Fuel driver himself. He is now the man over there in charge at Lucas Oil. And I got to thank Brandon Bernstein for quickly approving the deal that I put in for him for this show, Mostly Motorsports. Brandon Bernstein, a good guy. Dave Wanzer, great guy. Forrest Lucas, great guy. A lot of great people over there at Lucas Oil Products. And they've been really good to us for over a decade. And we just want to thank them for coming on board and sticking with us and allowing us to do this show next year. And the great thing about it is, and I just want to throw this out there, Austin O'Neill will be one of our producers for that show. We will have a bona fide sprint car driver in there working the show for us. And we're going to have Todd Surprise. He's going to work in there. Now, Todd is our music expert, right? So between Austin O'Neill and Todd, we should have a gauntlet of things to cover.
Lee's ready.
Lee's up. She's ready.
Right. She's got a big old. She's got her yoga to go to pretty soon, and then she's got a meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I forgot all
Get
about
her
it.
in and out. Lee, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Lee. What's
I'm
going
great.
on,
How are you
girl?
guys?
Good.
Congratulations
Hey,
on your new endeavor.
what do you think about that? You think that's a good idea?
I think you're gonna knock it out of the park.
I hope so. Lee, it's going to be one of those shows kind of like Press Pass. We're going to have a lot of journalists and nobody better than you on it. We had Kevin Harvick on a little bit earlier. I asked him the question, and he denied it. And I want to ask you the question and see if I get the same response out of you. I asked Kevin if he knew that Chase Elliott was behind him when he buried it off into turn one too hard and smashed the wall. I say he knew he was back there, and that's why he was trying so hard. And he probably had gotten the word that Chase was going to take him out as well. What do you think? Do you think that Kevin Harvick knew he was back there and felt the pressure of him trying to take him out late in that race?
Because he said he didn't know he was back there.
He said he didn't know that he was back there. Do you believe that?
I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I said.
We all three agree with that.
I mean, you know, he can say that all day long, but I'm calling bullshit because you know they know where everybody is on the racetrack. That's what their spotters are there. And Timmy Pita was one of the best spotters up on the stand, and so you know he knew he was coming. And, you know, Chase would have probably made the retaliation, you know, if he got to the bumper, which he was coming. And, you know, when they have time to work on these cars outside the realm of the inspection bay, right? I mean, they can trick up these cars any way they want to make them fast. I mean, they'll have to go through inspection after. But Chase Elliott wasn't going to be in a position where he was going to score a top 5 finish, most likely, right? Never say never. But, you know, that he would have had to have come under the you know, close contact of NASCAR inspectors afterwards. And so I think that, you know, he was gunning for Bear. And if you listen to the radio, and I put that in the column that I wrote on Monday, what was said on the 9 radio, you know, between Gustafson, Eddie DeHaan, and Chase, he was coming. You know, if he wasn't going to finish, neither was Kevin. And so Kevin knew. And I talked to Tony Stewart, and I'll put a story up when I get back today, you know, regarding the conversation that was had between, you know, he has spoke with Rick. You know, NASCAR spoke to everybody. I think it was Wednesday. And this is my problem right now. And I also used the comments from Scott Miller on Sirius on Monday. And, you know, Rick Hendrick. And then, just going over the story that the AP reported on Wednesday, having a phone call among the six principals, the old NASCAR would have had all their asses in the same room together, which this is not your father's NASCAR, right? You guys all know the story about Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt, well documented in Days of Thunder. When Big Bill called them all down to Daytona, they got on their planes and they came, right? Having a teleconference, having a Zoom conference, or whatever it was that they had, it's not going to have the same effect of saying, hey, get off your keister. I don't give a damn what your day looks like. You're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this in a boardroom and we're going to hash it out. And, everyone involved is going to stop what they're doing and you're going to understand the gravity of this moment. Now, the one takeaway, because I talked to Tony after everyone had left, and I know he talked to other reporters about it earlier, but he told me, both he and Rick, and he has talked to Rick, as I said, they want this to be over. They don't want it to continue on. He said he understands NASCAR would love to promote this thing, to Phoenix and then some, because it's going to sell race tickets, right? But, as a team owner, he doesn't want all of his guys getting caught up in the melee, and so that's kind of where they stand.
Hey, by the way, that piece you put up on Monday, Harvick-Elliott feud is far from over. I think that may have broken a record on Racing Boys for number of views. You had a lot of views on that thing, Lee. Good piece.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I've seen this story play out before, right? And the problem with Harvick right now, Harvick is not going to win the popularity battle. And I don't have to tell you about, in the when it comes to what happens, in NASCAR, you have to have a black hat and you have to have a white hat, and that does sell tickets, and it's great to have a rivalry. I love this rivalry. I really hope a rivalry would have blossomed between between Hamlin and Chase Elliott, but I just don't think that Denny has the. He's not Kevin, right? I mean, there's Kevin's the guy that can, ram it up your butt and smile and you're going to like it kind of mentality, right? And in the court of public opinion, though, Chase Elliott can do no wrong. I mean, you saw the calls that he got last year en route to winning the championship. I mean, they were questionable. And I think if you went back and looked at it, you were kind of scratch your head and say, who would officiate like that? Well, NASCAR would, because it's Chase Elliott. And so, Kevin's not going to win this battle either in the court of public opinion and with, from a personality standpoint. And so, I just, I'm interested to see how things go. And, had Kevin not screwed up and had Chase be able to get to his bumper and Kevin not wrecked on his own, it might, then it might have been over because it was tit for tat, right? But now it's like,
it's not over.
Really
it's not over now.
No. With Kevin, it's never over.
I don't think Harvick really cares about.
Hold on a second, Lee. Let me ask you this. I don't think it's over for Chase. I think Chase still feels like he needs to get even with that last incident that happened between them.
No, I mean, I think for Chase, just having the upper head of knowing that, he's taking up real estate in Kevin Harvick's head, having the upper hand rather, knowing he's already gotten to Kevin mentally is part of the game, right? And from that standpoint, Kevin, to make such a critical error in when he was running that well and had the potential to win the race, I mean, it's like, I think there was great satisfaction just knowing, he could do that. And so, we were all sitting there and watching it in the press box and just like blown away by what happened. And I was arguing with my husband because I was going to, use the Logano stuff that I had in that story on Monday. I was going to use that, going into the weekend, because I really thought that if Harvick was going to do something, the Roval was going to be it. And Reed's like, no, it's, he's not going to do anything. It would be too obvious. He'll wait till Martinsville, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, no, Kevin's not going to wait. Kevin's going to send a message now. And he did. And, then the whole damn thing backfired on him, which I don't know. It's Harvick, Harvick hasn't had a good season. This is keeping him relevant and, on to Texas.
I think everybody had to just laugh out loud when Chase Elliott said, I wish Kevin Harvick a merry off-season and a happy Christmas.
Well, and then he makes it a T-shirt and it crashes his website. I mean, who does that? I thought, that's awesomeness. It's like, I don't know. I'm not going to choose one side over the other, because I just, for all of us, it's great for it to keep going, because it keeps the sport at the forefront of, conversation. And this is NASCAR at its finest, truly. And, but if NASCAR really wanted this deal to end, as I said, you wouldn't have these mamby-pamby statements by Scott Miller, and NASCAR would have called them down to Daytona or at least to the office in Charlotte.
Yeah. Hey, Todd, pull that watermark down over the Lucas Oil shield on that lower third.
They don't want this to be. NASCAR does not want this to be over. Of course not.
No, it's selling tickets, and everybody will use the photos in their in their previews.
Yeah. What do you think Big Bill France would think of NASCAR right now, Lee?
I'd have to really think about that for a while, but certainly this isn't where he saw it going as far as the leadership. On the other side of that, I will say they are putting Ben Kennedy in a hell of a position to groom him to take over. And the one thing that I'll say about Ben that has been lacking in the leadership, probably the last three people who have run the sport, and I mean, this is nothing against them, but it's different when it's in your blood and you have that kind of a depth of passion for something. Ben Kennedy's passion for it, and I think you saw it in what the truck schedule looks like. And, having been a truck driver and a truck winner, the kind of passion that he has for the sport, I think, that's ingrained in him, and it defines his decision-making process. And from that standpoint, when he does become that guy, and I think it's coming sooner than later, I think that the fans will, kind of rejoice to have somebody who, has such a love for the sport in his bones.
It's funny, Lee. A lot of times when drivers come from the driver's seat and try to make a transition into the other side of the fence, they're usually not very successful. I'm talking on the local level. But at that level, somebody that's been through this process their entire life and knows so much about the sport, I think that's why he's successful, maybe more than others.
Well, not just that. He went to the University of Florida and got a degree in business, right? So you marry all that up together. His mother should have been running the sport. His mother went to Duke. I don't think she wanted that responsibility. Well, I mean, she has the responsibility of the track side of it, but she's very capable and very, could have done this herself. But just the fact that they're grooming Ben for this position, I think is going to go. When they decide what they want to do with TV rights, whether they take that in-house, or if they stay the course with the networks, all these things that have to be taken in consideration. I think he'll have the best advisors around him. And I think that the sport will be strong in his hands just, because of his background and having seen what works and what doesn't over the years. And I think the one thing about Ben is he will keep the sport authentic. And I think keeping it authentic to its roots is what's going to carry it, into the next generation.
Yeah, without Ben Kennedy's mother, I don't know if we'd have a track here in Kansas City right now. She was
that was her baby, and I mean, it's turned into a fabulous facility.
Yeah. Lee, just a little self-serving here. Out of all the intermediate tracks, the 1.5 mile tracks that are out there, what do you think the driver's favorite 1.5 mile track is out of all of them?
It has been Atlanta, simply because they didn't pave it and it stayed, kind of, I don't know, rough.
Rugged.
They
Rugged.
really appreciated it. They loved the speed, that kind of deal. But, Kansas has a lot to offer. And certainly the way that area is built up around there, it's really, become a crown jewel in the NASCAR portfolio.
Hey, let me take it one step further. Do you think people in the Charlotte area are responding to the Roval more than they do to the Oval?
Well, I think the Roval saved the fall date, and I don't mean that it would have gone away, but I can remember going to the fall date, and even though it was in the playoffs, it just didn't draw the crowds. They had to do something, and I applaud Marcus Smith for thinking outside the box and making that happen. Daytona adding a road course down there, it gave them an extra day. It certainly made things more interesting during the pandemic. And you got to think outside the box. And they know that road courses just naturally provide side-by-side competition. That's why they go for it. And, the Roval turned out to be a hell of a race. I mean, I think Charlotte Motor Speedway is laughing all the way to the bank.
Hey, before we let you go, you got to run here real quick. But Tony Stewart is now a team owner in NHRA. His future wife will be driving a Top Fuel dragster, and three-time champion Matt Hagan will be driving a funny car. You were at the press conference the other day. Your takeaway?
I think that it's going to be really stout for NHRA. To have somebody of his caliber will definitely bring eyeballs over there. And they're having a phenomenal year. Their ratings are up, viewership, attendance, everything is up. And I think that just having somebody with Tony's name, on the door is going to bring star power to that series. Sorry, that's my alarm. But and he's a great team. He and Leah make a really great team together. I can remember, Tony, we were having a discussion when we were in Wisconsin, and he was getting a little heated, and she got him calmed down right away. It wasn't anything I said. It was just something that he was really passionate about, and he was being very forthcoming. But she balances him. I mean, she's the adult in the room. I mean, sometimes drivers can get a little hot-headed, and she's a driver, yes, but she's really, really grounded, and she knows how to market herself, and Smoke knows how to market themselves. And I think as a team that they're going to do phenomenal things within the NHRA.
Joe Gibbs made a lot of money over there for a while, didn't he?
Oh, but he loved that. That was like his first love. After
Right.
he was born in Moxville, but moved to Southern California, and the cars were a big deal there. And he really, really loved drag racing. And so I think that, it's going to be fun to see what happens. It's going to be fun to see what manufacturer gets with technical alliances and, how they are moving forward.
And Lee, I know we got to let you go, but I've got to ask you the final question on this note. How long is it before we see Tony Stewart in some kind of top alcohol dragster, pro stock, something? How long until we see that?
He's already done
He said he did it. He did it for giggles, but he said it's not going to happen, professionally. That he's going to leave that to the other people to do that for him. So that he answered that question really quick.
All right.
I don't believe it. I believe that he'll drive something at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Thank you, Lee.
All right, Lee. Thanks so much. We appreciate
Take care,
you.
guys.
All right.
Bye.
See, she had to go. All right, Lee Spencer.
She's off and running to her yogurt class.
Yeah, can't be late for that. So
right.
Anyway, hey, did you know the Sarge is coming back, Scott? Tony Schumacher is coming back and going to drive full time next year.
For who?
For the Don Schumacher team. And It's
That could-
they've got
that could
full-time
be
funding for that, and he's going for his 9th championship next year.
Sure.
How about that?
That could be bad news for everybody.
Good to
Sarge
see him back.
is one of the. Hey, listen, Sarge is one of those guys, man. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Right? I mean, the coolest dude I've ever met in drag racing is John Force. But Sarge is one of those guys. He's been to our studio before and hung out with us. He's a really cool cat.
He's a 10-time winner of the U.S. Nationals. No one has won more, and that's the big event for the NHL.
Why did he retire, Kurt?
They ran out of funding. With the full-time sponsorship went away, and unless he had the proper funding, he didn't. They didn't want to field a team for him because he's championship caliber. They just didn't want to go out and half-ass it. So now they got full-time funding. I mean, he never wanted to retire to begin with, but since they lost that full-time funding with the Army team here a few years ago, he stepped away for a while. But he never did retire.
How many years has Sarge been away?
2018 was his last full-time season. Now he came back and ran a one-off
Really?
deal at the end of last year, if you recall. He won a race down at Baytown, down at Houston last year. But the last full-time season he had was 2018.
Wow. Well, that's crazy.
So, the mega teams in NHRA, are they going away? I don't know. You got the smaller teams that have done very well. Steve Torrance, for instance, going for his 4th straight Top Fuel Championship. They're not a large team. I mean, they fund his team on a regular basis, and then his dad races the other Top Fuel dragster, but they're championship caliber. So some of the smaller teams are winning a lot of national events right now. It's not being dominated as it once were by the Schumachers or the Forces of the world. Some of the smaller independent teams are rising up and winning a lot of races here right now.
I know that you say that, but John Force has had a pretty decent season.
He's had a
this year.
good season. I mean,
Yeah,
he and his daughter both won on the same day at Heartland Motorsports Park, and they won other races. Not that they haven't won races, but the Schumachers and the Forces just aren't as dominant as they once were.
Kirk, did you know the dirt track is completely all but gone? Just the dirt track is there left. The grandstands and everything's gone up at the dirt track at Topeka.
Really? They took the grandstands down?
They took them to I-70.
No kidding. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to see that.
This puts the area of Topeka in a kind of a tough spot. Mayetta's closed.
Yeah, they don't have a racetrack.
Heartland Motorsports Park is closed. I mean, where do they go now? Salina? Would that be the next place?
I would be the closest place that I can think of right now. Yeah, Topeka is not as well served as it once was
As
with
much
dirt tracks.
as, when I was a kid, you had Topeka Fairgrounds, you had Shawnee, you had Mayetta. They didn't have Heartland Park Topeka at that time.
And we need to clarify, Heartland Motorsports.
Listen, there was a day when that area was thriving with modified racing. Our friends up there in the pits.net, John and Junior, I mean, they made a living covering that area with modified racing. And now it's all but dead.
Yeah.
Is that I don't understand why anybody would close up that little dirt track at Topeka.
I mean, there were a lot of racers over there that wanted to
It was
race
a
on
nice
a weekly
track.
basis.
And not only that, Kirk, they took the lights down from that racetrack.
No
and
kidding.
took them
I
to
was not
I-70.
aware of that. Well, we need to clarify that Heartland Motorsports Park is not closed, just the dirt track. The rest of it is still open, very much.
Right. Correct.
So, but yeah, I hate to see that happen because that was a really nice dirt facility that they built over there, and for them not to utilize that is, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But maybe they want to focus in on the one dirt track facility that they do have in their portfolio, and that's I-70 Motorsports Park, and I guess they want to put all their eggs in that basket, which I can sort of understand, but still.
The question about I-70 Motorsports Park is, to me, here's the biggest question I have. When are they going to start building the drag strip?
It's a good question. I
don't see any progress
No.
right now with the drag strip.
Right. When we were out there, nothing didn't look like anything was going on. It didn't look like they laid out the way that's going to lay out. You know, it's kind of angled at a diagonal fashion with the end of the racetrack up in the northwest corner of the property. So that's all laid out, but there's been absolutely no work done at all to get that thing built. Now, I've not heard any indication that it's off the plans right now, but certainly it's been delayed as far as the construction is concerned. Could be due to the pandemic. I don't know.
Ryan Ragland.
All right, we'll take a call. Ryan Ragland's calling in on the show. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing this morning?
Gentlemen, how's it going? It's been a bit.
It's going all right.
We're
buddy.
doing
How
great.
you?
Well, both you guys kind of surprised me with your announcements this week, and congrats on both. So I had to say that.
Well, we're all getting to be old men here, Ryan. You know.
You ain't old, Kirk. I don't even want to hear that crap. Don't even go there.
I just signed up for Medicare earlier this year, so I'm getting old.
Well, I'm not quite as old as Kirk.
It. I will never. I may sign up for it for one day, but I'll never admit it.
We're older than you, Ryan. We know that.
We're a lot older than you, Ryan.
All right, I will take that. I want to throw out, Kurt Scott. I was going to send you a screenshot that I took talking about I-80. Did you see that Lucas Oil announced their late model schedule, and I-80 is on there for the Silver Dollar Nationals?
Well, did you see where the Lucas Oil Late Model Series is going to I-70 Speedway?
I did. That was the other thing I was going to bring out. They're bringing out a 3-day deal. They're going to I-70 to Granite, to Tri-County in Granite, Illinois, and then they're going down to Wheatland back to back to back.
You know, the one good thing that about doing the new show for me is that now I'll get to be able to go to all the great shows that are around the Kansas City area.
And I was so upset when I found out the I-70 was on a Thursday. I was like, really, guys? You're going to make me take Friday off? Because I'm not going to go to Odessa to late models and then run back to Ottawa, where I just moved to, and then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
Well, you're just going to have to take the day off, Ryan. That's all there is to it.
Well, that's what exactly. I have priorities in life, and late models are one of them.
Right.
But at least that way, then hell, that Saturday, and like I told you guys before, it's been over 10 years since I've been to Wheatland. So then I can go down to Wheatland that Saturday, and then that next weekend hop up to I-80 for the Silver Dollar Nationals. And I'm like, that's not a bad 2-weekend stretch right there.
How about we all meet up at these places and just have a grand old time?
And the first round's on me.
There you go. Hey, did you also see that they raised the winner's share at the Show Me 100 next year at Lucas Oil Speedway to $50,000 next year? So they've upped the money for that event next year.
It's still not going to beat the Silver Dollar Nationals, $53,000.
Yeah, well, that's
doesn't matter. It's still going to be a great race, though.
Oh, it's going to be a great race, and I was doubly surprised. Well, I'm not going to say doubly surprised because, Scott, you were talking about when you talked to Kosiski about the track and the sale and everything, that there was a chance that it may not even happen next year. Then I saw it on there. I'm like, all right, now I'm hyped about it. I'm glad it's on the schedule because Lucas Oil isn't going to put it on the schedule unless they're absolutely for sure. So I was hyped about that. And then I saw that I-70 was on there, and I was excited about that. But
Kirk, did you even know that?
About what?
The Lucas Oil Late Model Series going to I-70 Speedway next year?
Yeah, they announced that here this past July 14th is the date on the calendar. $10,000 to win show. And that
was one thing I was wanting to see. I was wanting to see either Lucas Oil or World of Outlaws, one of the two. I wanted to see a big late model show at I-70, and I thought it'd been kind of cool if they could do a Lakeside I-70 and Humboldt or
I don't think there's enough seats
Speedway.
I don't think there's enough seats at Humboldt to be able to justify bringing in an expensive Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
You know what, and I see where you're going, but my thought is if you can bring in, the top B mods and A mods with the King of America and Bull of the Ring deal, and put that many cars in, I think if you build it, they will come. I think it can happen now. I mean, if you can bring late models to like Fairbury and Limaland and tracks like that, the short ones, I think Humboldt would just be money. Especially
I
if you're gonna
think
be able to
what
bring
they need to
410s.
do is bring the Lucas Oil Late Model Series to Lakeside and I-70.
Yep.
And
would be
I-80.
that'd be an awesome. That'd be
Or
just
better
on a
yet,
Friday,
how about
Saturday.
this, Ryan? Hold on, Ryan. How about this? Go from I-80 to Knoxville to Lakeside to I-70.
I wouldn't miss a one. I'd take vacation days.
Yeah, that would be
It's-
a
I mean,
that would be a
that
nice
whole
little swing
area.
right there.
Yeah,
That'd be
that
a
whole
nice
area.
little RV trip.
Oh my God! And you know, the last time the late models, the super late models, were out at Lakeside's been a bit, and even the last time I can remember being there, Shane Clanton won when he was driving the yellow 25, and that's been a bit. You know, if they can go to Portsmouth, a huge track like that, West Virginia Motor Speedway is an even bigger track. Lakeside is perfect for super late models, and I don't know why they don't have more. I mean, they have the Melbourne Bank coming out of the Omaha area that runs some races down there, and it's always a great race. And I'm just, God, you're talking Topeka that doesn't have Mayetta, you know, Thunder Hill and you know, the Heartland place anymore. Crap, that's when I-70 and Lakeside need to jump on top of it.
Well,
I mean, they
but
could be
let's
the
be
area.
fair. The Topeka area needs a racetrack.
Oh, no doubt. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to go to Beatrice?
And weren't they going to like make a golf course or something up there at Mayetta?
Oh, I didn't even know till recently that they closed it. I'd been out of the loop up there for so long.
It's
and
been
someone
closed
told
for
me.
3 or 4 years. Listen,
Hasn't
the
been that
obvious
long.
place, first of all, the place that should be there is Heartland Park.
Yeah, no doubt.
They shouldn't have tore that place down. But
You had
maybe
it there, you could have improved it.
but let me just say this. Maybe that's a sign of the future of Heartland Park.
But why would you tear down a track you already had that all you had to do was improve on it instead
But
of tear it down and
because
rebuild it?
maybe, Ryan, think about this for a second. Maybe the ownership group up there already knows that they're not going to be there for much longer. You know, you got the whole back taxes thing going on. I don't know where that's at. I'm sure they're trying to negotiate that out, try to make a deal there. But he's built a beautiful racetrack in Odessa, Missouri. And maybe, I hate to say this because they said that they'd never have top fuel cars over there at I-70 in Odessa. But maybe.
Really?
Well, they said that, didn't they, Kirk? They
Yes,
said that they weren't going to have
This is
top
not going to be
fuel
a
cars.
national event track.
But listen, Kirk, that could change. If for some reason they lose Heartland Park Topeka, they're going to need a place to replace it.
They'll have to purchase even more land than they have now.
So maybe what they've done it, they've purchased all the land around that racetrack.
But you think they really want to deal with that city council with all the crap they went through just to get the dirt track done?
Well, here's the
That was a-
thing.
that was a plus
They're
step if you
buying
wanna
out,
think about it.
Ryan, they're buying out all the people that own property around that racetrack. I don't know if
Well,
you've heard this or not, but they've
I
already
heard
bought
that.
they've already bought all the land all the way back up to exit 41. All that land on the west side of I-70 Speedway has already been bought by everybody. So
if
they're eliminating all the problem childs that are around that area. They know who they are.
And if I'm the city council, I'm saying bring it on because you know how much money that's going to bring into the area. That's
Well,
nothing
the
but a
track,
gold mine.
the zoning and everything is already completed for the permits and all of that for the drag strip. It just needs to be
And-
constructed.
And I can take this from the landowner's perspective because my aunt and uncle used to live at State and 110th,
Right.
and they were living out of boxes for about 9-10 months waiting for their the purchase of their area when they were doing the Kansas Speedway. So I understand the frustration and everything that and the legalities and everything that goes with that. But look
the
what you have
biggest
now.
issue is the noise that they promised would not be generated by nitro fuel cars. They promised that.
Okay,
But
God
Kirk, if
forsake
you eliminate all those
sacrifice
people,
for a little bit.
Yeah.
If you eliminate all those people and buy all the land that's around that racetrack,
buy them
and
out.
eliminate the people that were complaining, and by the way, they know who they are.
Sure.
All right, we're going to
done
go to
that
this
with
guy.
JR.
There's a plan there. There's no doubt about
There's a
that.
plan there to get rid of those people.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just see
it-
how it all goes. Hey,
you make them happy with the purchase.
Right. Hey, Ryan, $100,000 to win tonight at Portsmouth, Ohio. They're going to run 2 events today. Last night's event at the Dirt Track Nationals was rained out, so they've got, I think, a 1 o'clock start our time this afternoon, and then they'll do the main
Yeah, I
show
think it's-
tonight.
I think it's 1:45. They start the first one. They just got pounded like 2 hours before the whole thing started, and they was just like, yeah, we can't do it. They even saw a couple of the water trucks. They were coming out of the corners about 45-degree angle coming down the front stretch, and it just wasn't happening. But I'm going to call the shot now. It's either going to be Davenport or God, I want to say Larson, but he's Larson. Last time I saw Larson at Portsmouth, he was beating Brandon Shepard, and Shepard hasn't had the most dominating season like McCready hasn't had his most dominating season. But I got to say, if you're going to go trifecta, you got to say Davenport, Overton, and Larson. I say box them and put the money on it.
Davenport had a great weekend last weekend down in Georgia, so he's coming in with a lot of momentum right now. That is for sure. So, and the one other late model race tonight, Tri-City Speedway out near St. Louis will run one night of the MLRA. Last night's event got rained out.
I'm just liking late models. I'm really liking late models as much as Scott likes the sprints.
No, listen, I love everything.
I do too.
That's what people don't understand. I love late models. I love a good modified race. I love a great street stock race, man. Some of the best racing I've ever seen is with some factory stocks around the country.
How do you? Hey, I was looking at the pay. I was looking at the payout for tonight at Portsmouth. $100,000 to win. 20,000. It drops down to $20,000 for second and $10,000 for third. 7 and 5,000. Talk about a drop off in the payout. My God.
That's when you go big or go home. That's pretty much how it is. They're putting that big drop off so that when you get the guys up front, guys are going to start taking a little bit more of a chance. If you tell me you're going into turn 1 on the final lap and you got the leader ahead of you. Are you going to do a slide job on him and not really worry about where it is if you can make 80,000 off that one move?
I'll crash anybody for $80,000.
Yeah.
You'd take Kirk out and wave at him on the way by.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I'd stuff Kirk right into the wall.
Have no doubt.
That's what I mean. They created something where, well, crap, if Tony Stewart was sitting there willing to take out his grandmother for a championship win, what the hell do you think he'd do for $80,000? On one turn,
right?
So it's going to be interesting for sure. It's not going to be boring, and I know where I'm going to be with my cold beverage and watching Mav TV Plus and getting that going.
And make sure you got Racing Boys on tonight too. We got a big sprint car race. We get 2 of them actually tonight down at Devil's Bowl and the OCRS at Red Dirt Raceway. So those are the 2 big ones for us.
So I'll bring the extra TV out of my bedroom and bring it over to the living room, and I'll do split screen.
There you go.
So I had to throw that in there real quick. I was going to send you that screenshot yesterday, and I just got busy with work and stuff, so I had to call and chime in on that. And I'm ready for it. And both of you guys, congrats on the news, and we'll keep in touch for sure.
Yep, things are changing here in the next year.
At this stage,
Thanks,
Ryan,
I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, Ryan, it's a great day to celebrate if we get up every morning and we're still alive.
Sun shining, 48 degrees, and I'm at Home Depot getting ready to paint my bathroom. What better can how better can it get?
Well, it's a little better than that down here. I think it's going to be about 75, 80 down here in Texas.
Really? That's great. Yeah. That'll be a great night.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine in Odessa, and he's sitting there bragging on it, and I'm like, dude, just whatever. You go enjoy it. Don't worry about me. So.
All right, Ryan. Well,
hey,
we
Ryan.
appreciate you calling in, buddy.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Have a great weekend. Thanks. There he is. Been a while since he was supposed to be at Knoxville.
Yeah, he was going to go to Knoxville.
He was going to go cover that event for us this weekend, but I think his dad was in the hospital and had to take care of him. But good to hear from Ryan. Late model
Family
guy.
first.
Yeah.
Family first. Always family first.
Yes, sir. So we got Brad Keselowski coming up here in just a little bit.
Did you try to get a hold of Bob Baker?
Calling him again right now.
Okay.
No,
who better to have on talk about Doug Auld than Bob Baker?
Scott, I tell you, when you delivered that news to me last weekend about Doug Auld, I mean, that's a complete shocker. I just spoke with him we both saw him up at the Nationals here a few weeks back. He looked terrific. I mean, the last thing on your mind is thinking, golly. So, but
I spoke to somebody that had talked to him about a week or two before his passing, and they said that he didn't sound well.
So they said it was a brief illness. Mm-hmm. So, but he was one of the top journalists in all of open wheel racing out there. I think everybody would agree with that. He was an impactful writer.
The way I understand it, Kirk, is that he had a heart attack about 3 a.m.
Oh man,
Bob Baker. Is it Bob Baker on the phone with us now?
I was going to say one thing before we do bring Bob. I was telling Austin and Adam. I didn't even know what he did for a living. But the whole time we were down there at Chili Bowl, the first few years,
Yeah.
But me and him always talked music, because I don't know if you know this, he's recorded some music himself.
Yeah, sure.
He was in he played in some pretty good rock bands in the day, and so whenever me and him talked,
guy.
it was never racing, and I think he kind of enjoyed that, because obviously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, his life was racing. But like you said, he was a very good musician, so it was sad to hear that. So yeah, we do have Bob on.
Yeah, I saw him twice.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
How you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing? Good. How are you?
Well, listen, I'm sorry for the last minute notice to get you on the air here, but I thought who better to talk about Doug Auld than yourself, a Hall of Fame member. Doug did so much for the racing community, and you're so elegant with your words, and you knew Doug so well, and I know that you spoke with him not long ago. What did Doug Auld mean to the world of open wheel racing?
Doug was one of those people that was easy to talk with. He was easy to befriend and be a friend with, and he was always positive, even if he didn't agree with you or whatever. He would always be able to talk with you and see both sides of the story, not just drivers or car owners or people in the racing business. He was just a connector that he knew everybody through the magazine and through being just a friendly person. He was just a great guy. He did like music a lot. He played in several rock bands, and he even had a little recording studio there in one of the bedrooms in his house. So he was really into the music and really into racing.
Yeah. I don't know what we narrow it down to, but Doug did so much in so many areas of motorsports, with the magazine, his columns, the people that he knew in the sport. What do you think was Doug's number one the number one thing that he contributed to motorsports? What would you say that would be? The magazine?
It'd be hard to say, but just looking overall, yes, because Doug was with Open Wheel Magazine, and when Open Wheel Magazine went out of business, he put the people and the funding and the money and the magazine and the idea all together to come up with Sprint Car and Midget Racing Magazine. So if it wasn't for Doug, there wouldn't be a Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. He started it. He got the funding going for it. It was his baby all the way. I mean, he took everything to the printers, got it to the mail, got everything, wrapped up and put together every month, whether it be the advertising, the stories, the pictures, the magazine, the whole thing. It's just, you wonder who is going to put all that together the way Doug did now that Doug's not around. But I'm sure the people at National Speed Sport News will pick up the ball and run with it.
Yeah. It was such a shock to hear the news. And, Bob, I know that he hadn't been feeling well for a couple weeks. And a lot of us, sometimes we just put it off. We're not feeling very well. It's cold. I'll be okay in a week or so. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get better over those course of the last couple weeks.
I think that's it. I think, Doug is one of those people like most of us. If we got a sniffle or not feeling good or cough or something aches on our body, we just think, well, it'll go away in a few days. And he'd had that, feeling for probably a couple of weeks. And, he just had a heart attack that did him in finally. And it was a shock to everybody. He's 59 years old. We'd just seen him about a month ago at the Knoxville Nationals, and looking forward to seeing him at the World Finals coming up in a couple of weeks in Charlotte. He was always at the big races because he made so many contacts and had so many friends in the industry.
I saw him twice a year, Chili Bowl and the Knoxville Nationals every year.
That's where I saw him.
Always had
year.
great conversations with Doug. I mean, what a great guy. And man, he'll be mad. But what about some of the others, Bob? We haven't had you on. I mean, we lost Greg Stevens here a while back, Robin Miller. We lost Rayleigh Goodwin. I mean, there's just so many here just in recent weeks here. Your comments about some of the ones that we've lost.
It's been a tough couple of months with all those friends that you mentioned. Most of those people you mentioned, had been sick and, were reaching, an age where it was kind of a blessing that, they weren't in pain anymore. But with Doug, it was just a shock because he was always so healthy. And, when you saw him at the races or you talked to him on the phone, he was always so positive. So that's the thing I think that was different about Doug leaving us, is that it happened so quickly and unexpectedly, whereas with like Rayleigh and Greg Stevens and, some of the other people that have passed away, they'd been sick for a while, and everybody, I think, kind of knew that the end was coming near, even though we don't want to think about it. But with Doug, it was just a shock.
Yeah.
Bob Jenkins is the other driver, or not driver, but broadcaster and big-time player.
The captain,
so many.
Greg Stevens, was maybe the first true pioneer in our industry of what we do, and that's a huge loss to our industry. He gave so many people like Dean Mills, Jeff Christensen, Jeff Converse. He gave all these guys opportunities to get into our sport and do what they have been doing now for years and years and years. I don't think we can put a value on what Greg Stevens did for our sport.
If it hadn't been for Greg, sprint car racing would not have been on TV as soon as it was.
Right.
The Knoxville Nationals would not have been on TV as soon as it was. Nobody would, across the country that hadn't heard of Knoxville, would have heard of it as quickly as they did, because it was Greg's idea that the sport was so exciting. It had to be on television. People had to see it. And he had the wherewithal because he had the cameras, he had the way to film everything. He had that experience of filming,
the ability,
the passion for sprint car racing, the ability. Mm-hmm. And when we say ability, people should think back to the 1970s. It was a van, a couple of cameras, maybe one camera, and Greg. And this is way back before all the communication we have now. He would film the races, send the raw film overnight Federal Express to TNN, and they would have to edit it, and then they would have to cut and put the pieces on the air the next day on the speed shows that we saw with Larry Newbern, all those great people back in the 70s and 80s. But Greg was the one that was doing the filming, and if he had the ability, the editing in his van. So he was up all night after the races, sometimes editing and then driving to Des Moines or wherever it would be, the closest airport, to get that film shipped to the TV stations so that it could be aired the next night on the Sunday night racing programs.
Well, and this was before videotape, where this film had to be processed and then edited down and then transported to get it on the air. It's incredible.
It was much more difficult back in the day. You didn't just upload a file and send it through an email.
Exactly. It had to be transported, and if it wasn't for Greg and his van, and his camera. It never would have happened because he not only knew the excitement of it, he experienced it, but he had a passion to share it with others, and that passion is what led him to make sure that all those films, every night from Saturday night racing at Knoxville and the World of Outlaw races across the country, the Knoxville Nationals, if it wasn't for Greg, a lot of people never would have heard of those races.
You know what's great, Bob, is that he was around to be inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame here just a year or so ago. That was terrific.
You know, and Doug Auld was around a few years ago when he was inducted also. And that means so much more to the people and their families and friends when they're able to experience it themselves in life versus after they pass away and a loved one has to accept their induction. So, you know, I know that that's on the minds of all of our voters, our National Induction Committee, when they make their nominations and they make their final votes. You know, they understand the accomplishments of the people they're voting for, but also they understand that some of these people aren't getting any younger.
Could be the greatest honor anybody could get, getting into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Bob, I got to finish off by talking about the 1968 Knoxville Nationals champion Ray Lee Goodwin passed away here just recently. Such an ambassador to our sport. I've never met a person that didn't like Ray Lee.
Ray Lee was a friend to everybody. I mean, the first time I met Ray Lee, he told me, he goes, if there's anything that you need, you just let me know. I'll be glad to make appearances, shake hands, be in parades, talk on the radio, go to a TV thing. You just let me know what you need done, and I'll take care of it. And he was just one of those people that would do anything to help you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Bob, thanks for taking the time. What's going on up there at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum? You got any updates for us?
Tomorrow I'm going to Sacramento, California, and going to be at the Northern California Auto Racing fundraiser. They're trying to build a museum in Sacramento, a car racing museum, not just sprint car racing, but for all of racing in California and Sacramento. And then Friday night we'll be at Lakeside Speedway with the World of Outlaws. And then in 2 weeks we'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina for the World Finals. And then after that we have a little bit of a break before we go and do the PRI Trade Show and the indoor race in St. Louis at the Gateway Nationals. So it's a busy couple of months for us.
We'll look forward to see it. We'll all be out there at Lakeside next Friday night. That'll be fun.
We'll see you next week, Bob.
Thank you so much for having us on the show. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Doug Auld's family, his wife, and 2 daughters.
All right. Good having you on there. Thank you, Bob. There you have
Thanks,
it, Bob
Bob.
Baker
Thanks, Bob.
from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Great friend of the Racing Boys for, gosh, how long we've known Bob now? Over 30 years, probably, Kurt.
Yeah, I mean, I first met Bob when he was running the State Fair Speedway down at Sedalia. When he
what
probably,
year would that have been?
Oh, gosh, that's been 35 years ago. I don't know. It's a long time ago now.
Was that the early 90s?
I'll tell you what, I think I met Bob even before he took on that task down at Sedalia, because you got to go back into the 80s when he was helping run the I-70 Speedway for a while.
Well,
he helped
State Fair. He
run that.
ran State Fair, too.
But even that was before the State Fair Speedway, I think. So, but anyway, you got to go back into the 80s since I've known Bob. Long time ago. Good guy. Good guy.
He knows how to pick those trophy girls, too. Back in the day. Yeah.
You know what Bob Baker is? He's just a great leader of people.
Oh, no doubt.
You know,
for sure. Yeah.
Everybody loves to work with Bob.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody, we appreciate you tuning into the show today. What a show, right? Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Logan Schuchart, Lee Spencer, Bob Baker. That's pretty good.
We'll play the Keselowski interview going out.
Play it on the way out, and that's what we'll probably do.
We haven't played that, have
we? Went to Bob because we had that little. We needed to get in.
Want to just wrap up with that, Kirk, and then we'll just close with that.
Yeah,
that would be perfect. So again, tonight 8:00 is when the races start at Devil's Bowl Speedway. Hot Laps will be on with the live stream ahead of that. So everything looks to be 100% go at Devil's Bowl tonight, and also at Red Dirt Raceway, where we'll have live coverage of the Ameriflex Oil Capital Racing Series tonight. Both those broadcasts on Racing Boys, so tune in.
All right. This is an interview that Kirk Elliott did yesterday with Brad Keselowski right there in the Racing Boys HQ studios. I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you all next week right here on Track Talk. It's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. Here's Kirk Elliott with Brad Keselowski.
Welcome back. We have Brad Keselowski joining us here on Track Talk. He is getting ready for Texas Motor Speedway this weekend, and next weekend he's coming to Kansas Speedway, a place where he's won twice in his career. Brad, how you doing this morning?
Terrific. Glad to be talking to you and looking forward to the next 4 weeks.
Well, you're going through a lot of things right now. Looking forward to heading over to Roush Fenway next year, but you're going to try to finish up strong with Penske. Former champion yourself. You won the title back in 2012. So as you head into the next 3 races here, just how do you see your chances here coming up here over the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Really good. The team's worked very hard on the race cars to get us the speed we need to be able to compete, and I'm eager to see that play out on the racetrack this weekend. Obviously, a lot of work cut out for us. We need to win one of the next few races or just have 3 really, really good second-place finishes. But that won't be easy. There's great competition out there for sure, and if we can pull it off, though, we can go win the championship, so that'll be exciting.
I was surprised to see that you never won a Cup race at Texas Motor Speedway. Just kind of talk about your history there and how close have you come to winning a race there?
Yeah, very close. We've led a lot of laps. I think we've led over 500 laps, and I don't think anybody has led more laps than we have without winning the race there. But it just hasn't come together for whatever reason, so hopefully it clicks.
And Kansas Speedway, that's in our backyard here. Of course, that's a place you won twice. I remember the first time they ran a second Cup race. It was in the spring. Actually, it was right after Memorial Weekend of 2011. We remember that weekend. It was so hot there, but you won that race, and then you picked up another win here just a couple of years ago at Kansas Speedway. Just kind of describe how you see that racetrack and how that's going to play out next weekend.
Yeah, it's been a really good racetrack for us in Kansas, and we've won 2 races there. And, I think we just do a great job of putting ourselves in position and capitalizing when the moment strikes. So, again, hopefully we can make that happen this time around. The spring race and the fall race there are always really different with the temperatures, like you alluded to, with the fall race being so much cooler and having a lot more grip. But the track is still a challenge nonetheless between all the different grooves you can run on the bottom of the racetrack, middle, and then, of course, up against the wall. And bottom generally being the fastest early in a run, and then late in the run when the tires wear out the top, super fast but really treacherous. So it's a good challenge for us.
Kansas is still a pretty smooth racetrack?
Fairly smooth. They did a great job when they repaved it, making all that kind of come together.
Let's talk about you got going through a lot of changes coming up here as we approach 2022. You're heading over to Roush Fenway Racing, taking more of a ownership role in the organization, but also a brand new race car next year. Just kind of talk about all the changes that you're going to be focused on as you finish up 2021 and head to next year.
Yeah, a lot of changes coming in 2022, but with taking on the new role and driving the 6th car and so forth. But, I try not to get too far ahead of myself. The challenge of winning the 2021 championship is right in front of me, and we want to stay focused on just that. But I am excited about the future to come.
Okay, kind of talk about what your active role will be at Roush Fenway next year. Just kind of talk about what you're going to be responsible for as you head into a new venture.
Yeah, I'll have a pretty heavy active role as we move forward in 2022 with the 6th car and the overall team. We got a lot of announcements to come on just what all that means, and I don't want to get ahead of that, but certainly we'll play a key role in hopefully getting that company and those teams in a spot where they can return to the glory of years past.
You're a veteran of NASCAR racing. You've seen a lot of changes in the sport here over the last couple of years. We've seen a lot of changes in the scheduling, and NASCAR has been pretty bold about trying to keep up with the times. Just how do you see the sport right now?
Yeah, well, we're in a big spirit of transition where the sport is getting through all the COVID stuff, got the next gen car, got new TV contracts, and I think it's of course, the schedules have been changed significantly. And I think all this has been really good for us as a sport. So I see us in a growth sector, and that's part of why I'm trying to increase my role in the sport.
Do you like the more road courses that they've added to the schedule and flipping a lot of the dates around? Do you like more
I like
road courses?
flipping a lot of the dates around, but I don't like all the road courses.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of unnecessary.
And I don't know how many there's going to be in next year's schedule, but I guess that is very surprising, where just for years and years you had just Watkins Glen and Sonoma, and that was about it. But do you think the double file restarts and some of those kinds of changes have kind of made the road racing a little more exciting to watch for the fans? They NASCAR getting positive feedback? Is that why they added more road courses?
I don't know why NASCAR added more road courses. I really can't answer that. I don't know why that's the case. I haven't seen any reason for it.
How do you feel about the addition to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, moving the Busch Clash out there? It's going to be the week before the Super Bowl, and then a couple of weeks later you got the Daytona 500. How do you like going out there?
Oh, I'm super excited about that. Yeah, I think the LA Coliseum is going to be fun. It'll be a nice change of pace for us. It's good to get to a market that has been a little underserved over the last few years. I think that's going to be a big race for us.
Do you like the fact that you don't get a lot of practice and there's no qualifying right now? I mean, where do you see that headed? Do you think we'll get the qualifying back and more practices as we climb out of this pandemic here, or do you like the fact that you go to all these racetracks and not get a lot of track time before you race?
Yeah, it's not particularly something that bothers me either way. Whatever NASCAR wants to do, we'll do, and we'll make it work, whether it's 2-day shows, 3-day shows, 1-day shows. I like them all.
So you're good however way they want to do it.
Yep.
Good enough. Brad, thanks so much for coming in. Best of luck to you this weekend at Texas, and also we'll look forward to seeing you out here at Kansas Speedway. And good luck in your future venture over at Roush Fenway as well. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
And that's Brad Keselowski, an interview we recorded yesterday. Probably a big takeaway I had out of that. He doesn't like road racing. He would just assume there wasn't any more road racing than there has to be in that. So I think that was kind of surprising to me a little bit. He doesn't like the road racing, and he doesn't have an opinion on whether or not that the practice and the qualifying. He's good either way.
Either way, show up on race day.
Hey, just tell us what to do and we'll do it.
That's what it sounded like, right? Just tell me where I need to be and I'll be there.
What are we doing? Okay, I'll do it.
I'm easy like a Sunday morning. So.
It doesn't really matter. So
anyway, we got coverage next weekend. We're going to do a pre-race show on our Sports Radio 810 sister station 1510 and the FM station over there, and I forgot what the frequency is, the 94.5 FM. Yep. So we'll have that coverage next weekend. So Scott, we're looking forward to seeing you racing at Devil's Bowl tonight. That's the number one thing we're looking at right now.
Yeah, for sure. And we're soon maybe to be on in a new market here before too much longer. So stay tuned for that as well. All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk. Again, it's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. And if you were listening earlier in the show, the new show that we'll be doing next year, mostly motorsports, again, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. For Adam Bartman, Todd Surprise, Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks so much for tuning in to Track Talk. We'll do it all over again next Saturday morning. We hope that you'll join us. Until then, goodbye.